Welcome to all of the panelists. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We're gonna dive right in. Let's talk about sex, right?
Sex.
I happen to think sex is if you do oral. That's to me is sex.
Mm-hmm.
Kissing is not sex, but I think when you go beyond that, for me, I think that's sex.
Something that has a quote-unquote happy ending,
Uh-huh.
right? For somebody, somehow, some way, right?
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be intercourse or penetration,
Right.
right? It can be oral, it could be head, or it could be,
For you have to have an orgasm for it to be called sex.
or that can result in orgasm, because
Mhm.
sometimes it gets interrupted, right? And
Right.
doesn't finish.
Or you
it
don't
just
want to
doesn't
finish.
fit exactly,
Yeah.
right?
What defines safe sex to you guys?
Of course, the emphasis on HIV is extremely important because that is sort of like the ultimate worst thing you can catch.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that if that's what safe sex focuses on, it misses a lot of points in terms of other STIs.
Absolutely.
Safe sex to me is reducing as much as possible the risk of any transmission.
And
But there's no such thing as 100% safe sex, which is called abstinence,
right.
which would technically
So
be
that's
called
how you have safe sex. No
Well,
sex.
Just-
yeah,
Right.
yeah, so just wanna, because in 2018, HIV is definitely not the worst STD you can catch. Hepatitis C and other stuff, because of having no vaccine and no cures and stuff like that, actually do a lot more damage in 2018. And the reason why we say safe first sex now is because there is really that definition of safe sex can be really like misconstrued across the board.
Yeah.
So people emphasize safe first sex, and the way to have safe first sex is to know the person that you're having sex with, right? Their sexual health, which, I mean, it depends on the context of which you're meeting the person in, right? So if you're hooking up, right, the safest sex usually is to ask some surface questions, because you can't really get into detail with somebody you're just hooking up with, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to do that?
Yeah.
So you have safe first sex by asking some questions or using a condom and just keeping yourself safe,
Yeah.
right?
As safe as you can. I mean, it's a
As
risk.
safe as you can be, which
Sex
is why
is
you
a risk.
are
Yeah.
safe first sex.
Yeah. We're not going to stop having sex. So, but now you have to understand that if you're going to be on PrEP and you don't use a condom, then other STIs are a risk that you're putting yourself up for.
But is PrEP, like, if you're on PrEP, there's no way you can well,
It's not a full.
No. People have this idea that, like you guys were mentioning, that it protects you against everything, which we know is obviously not true,
No.
right? So that is a good thing that you did say that, because HIV, people think HIV, and now that we're not thinking HIV, that everything is just, free for all, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word. So
My experience with PrEP and not using a condom, like, people will refuse to have sex with you if you want to wear a condom.
Right.
And because they're on PrEP and they're safe in those regards. But I'm like, I don't know you, we're hooking up, and I'm like, I don't want to risk getting
Something else that you have.
something else. Yeah.
We need more people to understand is you have the right to say no at any point in the interaction.
Do you, Gregory, in your generation, your age group, are there most people or a lot of people on PrEP, or are people practicing safe sex or not?
I have a lot of friends who don't practice safe sex and are on PrEP, who are not practicing safe sex even before they were on PrEP.
Do they think they're practicing safe sex though?
Well, when they're
Because
on
they're
PrEP.
on PrEP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys have sex while on drugs and alcohol?
absolutely.
So do
Oh
I.
my God, I'm like, damn.
It's interesting too, because I feel like drugs and alcohol are way more of a thing in gay culture than in heterosexual.
Party lifestyle.
I
And you're
guess
seeing
we
all
have like
these-
poppers and
Yeah.
all these, like we have these drugs that we have, like, I feel like some more sex clubs that are
Yeah.
like purely based on drugs to
Right.
go to, and like
So how do we best enjoy that, but also still practice safer sex?
People are not going to stop doing drugs and alcohol, and people are not going to stop having unsafe sex. And people are going to think by taking PrEP that it's foolproof. They don't even think about STIs. I think if people are going to do that, the most important thing is to get tested.
interesting though, like that I think is problematic with drugs and alcohol that comes with sex is that consent, like communication. It's like I have friends who have gotten blackout drunk, and someone who's not maybe on the same level as them has either like take advantage of the fact, or and it's like you can tell when someone's, you know,
Wasted.
Yeah.
too drunk to comprehend what's really happening.
I have been thinking while I'm listening to all of you guys, and I definitely think that it won't be stopped, a lot of the things that are kind of happening with like unsafe sex, but I think the best thing that everyone can do is kind of put it out there to everyone else as much as we can, just kind of talking about it like we are now.
Yeah.